church, they paid more.
Did they? Oh, because with beer
They're
pressy,
good
you're not
payers.
allowed
The
to drink.
Presbyterians always got their business sense good.
No.
Good afternoon, councillors and those in our virtual gallery. Unfortunately, we are not able to have a live gallery because of we're still under COVID restrictions, but welcome all to the June ordinary meeting of council. Could I please ask you to be upstanding for the acknowledgement of country and the council prayer? I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the country of the Dja Wurrung. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the area and acknowledge their living culture and their unique life in the role of this region. I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Almighty God, we ask you to be present in this council. Direct and guide our deliberations. We ask you to grant us wisdom and sensitivity as we deal with the business of our shire. May each decision that we make advance the well-being of all our residents. This we pray. Amen. Councillors, we have an agenda before us and we'll now proceed to it. We have no apologies. We're all present. We have therefore no leave of absence also. Councillors, any disclosures of conflicts of interest? No disclosures of conflict of interest. The confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting, that is the May ordinary meeting of council. Is there any concerns about the minutes? If not, I declare those minutes to be confirmed. We have no minutes of delegated advisory committees, no petitions, so let's move to item 8, the officers' report, and item 8.1, Central Goldfields Volunteer Strategy and Action Plan. Councillors, the report is before you. Is the council prepared to move a motion? Councillor Lavella, and a seconder. Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Lavella, your motion.
I move the recommendation that council endorse the draft 2021 Central Goldfields Volunteer Strategy and Action Plan for community consultation, and B, make the draft 2021 Central Goldfields Volunteer Strategy and Action Plan available on council's Engage website for a period of 4 weeks.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Councillor de Villiers, you're happy to second that. Councillor Lavella, talking to the motion, please.
The draft strategy and actions have been developed following meetings with council officers, meetings with the Maryborough Volunteer Resource Centre, one-on-one interviews with volunteers and a focus group session with local volunteers and volunteer organisations. The Maryborough Volunteer Resource Centre, established in late 2020 by a working group of community volunteers and under the auspices of the Maryborough Community House, aims to engage and link potential volunteers with relevant services. It will provide a central hub to connect residents and newcomers wishing to volunteer with community organisations. There is an abundance of volunteer opportunities within the Central Goldfields Shire, and including but not limited to education settings, food services, emergency services, junior and senior sport, fundraising, the arts, costume and design, crafting, picking up rubbish after others who inconsiderately dump, sporting groups and clubs and organisations, heritage tours, canteens, community managed facilities, including community radio station. In the 2016 census, which is going to be updated in August, it was stated there was 12,995 people in Central Goldfields. Of these, 22% volunteered with an organisation. This was above the state average of 19.2 and the Australian average of 19% recorded for the same period. This equates to approximately just short of 2,900 volunteers, and then at an hourly rate, which increases to $20.33 on the 1st of July, equals 58,000, I hope my math's right, $58,000. And that is for one volunteer for 1 hour's work. So you do the math, and I hope that was correct, on how much volunteers save our organisations, save the ratepayers and our governments. It needs to be understood, and it needs to be recognised that our volunteers are a cost benefit worth to our community. It's also interesting to note, it is estimated nationally there are almost 6 million formal volunteers and 2.3 million in Victoria, according to the Office of Premier 2020. And this is according to the data out of ABS 2019. Unfortunately, the 2020 COVID had a profound impact on volunteering. Research from Volunteering Australia said that 2/3 of volunteers, 65.9%, stopped volunteering between February and April 2020. VA also undertook a stakeholder survey in April 2020 and revealed 80% of organisations had stood down volunteers because of COVID and the restrictions surrounding that. All this said, I believe our volunteers in Central Goldfields deserve far more acknowledgement and recognition. I also believe it is vital for volunteers to feel supported and valued as they so truly deserve. So, councillors, I have no hesitation in endorsing this draft strategy prior to going out for consultation.
Gosh, Councillor Lavelle, that'll be a hard one to follow. Good on you. Councillor De Villiers, now you beat that.
I've got nothing to add, but you've said it all, Grace.
Other councillors? I just have one very simple message to add to that. Coming from a small community and representing small communities, without volunteers, we wouldn't have a community. Yeah. And the communities we have and the strength of our communities are because of volunteers.
Yes.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.2, proposal to relocate the existing Maryborough Toy Library. Do we have a motion? Thank you, Councillor Long, and your motion is?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. That Council endorsed the relocation of the Maryborough Toy Library situated at Goldfields Family Centre, 100 Napier Street, to the Central Goldfields Shire Council Tate Building at 12 to 22 Nolan Street in Maryborough.
Thank you, Councillor Long. Is there a seconder to that motion? Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Councillor Long, talking to the motion, please.
Thank you. Through the Mayor. I'm happy to move that Council endorse the relocation of the Maryborough Toy Library, currently situated at the Goldfields Family Centre, to the Central Goldfields Shire Council Tate Building next to the Council offices. As an early childhood educator myself, I know how important play is in the development of early childhood. Play allows children to use their creativity while developing their imagination, dexterity, and physical, cognitive, and emotional strength. Play is important to healthy brain development, and it is through play that children at a very early age engage and interact in the world around them. Since the extension of the Goldfields Family Centre, the Toy Library now shares a yard with the kindergarten, which has significantly reduced the access to the toy library and has restricted their opening times. The Toy Library requested Council support to relocate to a central location that offers a secure area to display toys with sufficient car parking and amenities. The Toy Library put forward several locations and concluded that the Tate Building at 12 to 22 Nolan Street would suit their needs with minor adjustments required. The building is unoccupied with no current proposals or plans for its use. I see this as a perfect outcome and wish the Toy Library a smooth shift and much joy in their new location. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Long. Councillor Sprout?
Nothing further, Mr Mayor, thank you.
Any other councillors? Not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.3, an instrument of delegation under section 11.A, instrument of appointment and authorisation, part of our responsibilities to ensure our officers can undertake delegated responsibilities of council. Is anyone prepared to move that? Motion. Councillor Sproul, and you're moving the motion to proceed with the delegation?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, the recommendation is that the council adopt the attached S11A instrument of appointment and authorisation for the members of council staff set out in the instrument. Item 2, the attached S11A instrument of the appointment and authorisation comes into force immediately and remains in force until council determines to vary or revoke it. And number 3, that the attached S11A instrument of appointment and authorisation be signed by the CEO.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Is there a seconder to that motion? Thank you, Councillor Vella. Councillor Sproul, did you want to talk to the motion or put it as presented?
I'll just say that so the S11A instrument of appointment and authorisation is specifically for authorised officers officers appointed under the Planning and Environment Act 1987, and this is for Mark Jennings has been appointed as Coordinator of Compliance, and Alexandra Jeffries has been reappointed as Coordinator for Statutory Planning.
Thank you, Councillor Sprout. Councillor Vella?
Nothing from me, thank you.
Any other councillors? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.4, Audit and Risk Committee Biannual Report to Council. Seeking a motion. Thank you, Councillor Lovett, and the motion.
I would like to move that council note the Audit and Risk Committee biannual report to council.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. A seconder. Councillor Murphy, thank you. Councillor Lovett, talking to the motion.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The new Local Government Act of 2020, major changes were made to existing audit committees, and the legislation stated that there must be a biannual report to council. We're fortunate in Central Goldfields Shire that the chair of the Shire's Audit and Risk Committee, John Watson, is one of the most respected people involved in local government throughout Victoria. He was a former CEO of both individual councils and CEO of Local Government Victoria. Our community can be confident that this committee have their best interests at heart. Not only does the committee review the financial sustainability of council, but they look at infrastructure renewal, asset management and community service priorities. Everything is looked at forensically and in detail. The committee meets quarterly, and at its most recent meeting in June, the agenda was 296 pages long, so nothing is missed. So this report to council is very important, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lovett. Councillor Murphy. Any other councillors? If I can just make one comment, and that is to acknowledge, Councillor Lovett, your contribution in when you were mayor in 2017, your recruitment of John Watson to the role of chair. And I think you had lunch with him in Ballarat, took him to lunch for a grand total of $27.60, I think it was. And then to make matters worse, you'd lost your receipt and had to do a statutory declaration. I think that was the best $27.60 this council has ever spent. We are incredibly fortunate to have John's leadership, wonderfully fortunate. And I think the strength of that Audit and Risk Committee, which we restructured in 2017, has just grown, and it's so good to note the annual report, biannual report, I should say. So I'll put the motion, we note that biannual report. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.5, the May financial report, which has been presented to us. A motion, thank you, councillor de Villiers. Your motion is that we note the report?
Do you want me to read the
No,
recommendation?
no, just the record. Well, what is the motion? Do you want to, you're happy to move that the report as presented? Okay, councillor, a seconder, please. Councillor Murphy. Thank you. Councillor de Villiers talking to the motion.
The motion is that we acknowledge and the receipt of the financial report for the period to 31st of May, and also that council approves and adopts the financial forecast, including an operating result of $1.5 million and the capital works program of $7.4 million to June 2021.
Thank you. Did you want to, we've had it seconded, so would you like to talk to it at this stage?
I've gone through the financial report and I'm quite happy with the financials as presented by council.
Okay, thank you, Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Murphy.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This is about this is May, so that's six reports we had. Is that right, General Manager? 6 reports, and they all good. They're all progressing well, and we're getting into the last one in June, which will come up in July, and it looks like everything is running to what we're supposed to be running to. There's no surprises, no real issues, and when we go back to November, December, it's like, yes, that's what will happen in May, or that's what will happen in February. So I'm pretty happy with the whole thing. It's running really well to where we're supposed to be in the forecast and the cash position and all that stuff. So I'd like to well done to all the officers involved, probably right through the actual organisation, because we can say it's the finance department, but everyone's got their own budgets. Everyone has to work to what they work to, and we have grants, we have building programs, and everything is working to that level where we're not overrunning, we're keeping things to an even keel, and very, very happy. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Murphy. Other councillors? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Item 8.6, a conclusion of a lot of work and involvement. That is to present the budget that has been out for community consultation as required under the Local Government Act, to present for ratification and adoption the budget for 2021-2022 for Council. Is there a motion for adoption of the budget? Thank you, Councillor Murphy. A seconder, please. Councillor Vella. Councillor Murphy, talking to the motion.
So the council, having considered submissions to the draft 21-22 budget, we're adopting the final 21-22 budget tonight. Well, hopefully we have the right situation, or is it going to get myself in trouble? So the budget outlines the resources required to deliver the diverse and extensive range of services we provide to the Central Goldfields community. It outlines projects to undertake strategic planning for our services, assets, economy and land use, and includes a comprehensive list of capital works to be undertaken during 21-22 year. The budget includes a rate increase of 1.5% in line with the state government fair go rates cap. Council, and I'll stress this, Council has not applied to the state government for a rate cap variation and will continue to manage Council services as efficiently as possible within the rate cap. The budget has always also been prepared with a pause on Council's rating strategy of 2019-2021. This Council intends to review the current rating strategy during the 21-22 financial year and decide the direction going forward. Council's waste charges have been increased by 3% in 21-22 for standard waste charges and varying increases for non-standard waste charges. This is to ensure that the full cost of Council's whole waste management function continues to be fully funded by waste charges. This budget includes a new capital works program of 20.9 million, up from 15.9 million in 2021, including 5 million of capital works projects carried forward from 2021. This is a significantly higher program than in prior years due to an estimated 12.3 million in grant funding. The budget has a net surplus of 11.1 million with a total of 12.3 million of capital grants budgeted for the 21-22 year. This produces, carefully listen, this produces an adjusted underlying deficit result, including the raise to recovery funding of 461,000 Ks. The main driving impact the result for 21-20 year include rates revenue capped at 1.5%. It's a revenue growth of 94.7 Ks. Insurance premium increase, work cover premium increases, superannuation guarantee increases, and EBA increases. The net impact of this pressure is a reduction of 466 K on the overall result, highlighting the challenge of the rate capped environment. There is a challenge when you have a rate capped environment. Once upon a time, we go back 6-7 years, there could have been a rate increase of 6% or 4% or 5%. And over the last X years, it's gone from 2.5% rate cap down to 1.5%. And it's a challenging time for councils and staff, and especially administration, to be able to deal with doing a budget with a 1.5% rate cap, to be able to get the things you need to get put in. Now, this council group and this administration has worked hard to get a total of 12.5 million of capital grants budgeted for 21-22 years. And these are not easy things to do. And it's working for the community and trying to keep our budget online. So finally, I'm very happy to move the budget. Councillors and officers have worked tirelessly on the outcomes of the budget. There has been community input. We've been out to the community to talk to the community. The community have had time to come in and talk about the budget. I can only say to the council officers, well done. Again, across the whole of the spectrum, like I just said about the main performance, is that everyone works hard on a budget. And I'd like to thank the finance department especially, but also every part of the council for working hard on their own, on the budgets we're putting out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Lavella.
I'm more or less going to echo what Councillor Murphy said. It's a great budget. It has been an onerous task over a number of months, and given the transition from administrators, COVID, to the newly elected representatives, and notwithstanding staff changes. It's well put together, and excellent job to all the officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Other councillors? I'd like to add a few comments, if I can, really along the lines that both Councillor Murphy and Councillor Lavella have said. This, I think, has been a brilliant team effort. And by team effort, I mean starting with the council. And for a number of councillors here, this is their first council budget, and that is a fearsome thing. It's not an easy task to get across in the first year. We've had to schedule that with a whole lot of other statutory requirements, training requirements, and meet the requirements of the timeline of the budget. It's also been incredibly difficult for staff. We've been very, very fortunate in acquiring some wonderfully talented staff, including the new general manager, new finance manager. But they haven't had a background in local government. They've managed to adapt, bringing their brilliant technical skills, financial skills to the process. I certainly need to acknowledge the contribution of the CEO in the leadership of this. Thank goodness we have a CEO with deep financial skills. And I have to say, in this whole process, there has been a new term that I have learned and come into the lexicon, affectionately known as Lucy's Orange, which describes, of course, about rate capping when people don't understand easily the effect of rate capping on one and how much their individual rates are. And of course, it all fits within the rate capped orange. So Lucy's Orange is now part of the terminology that we deal with budgets. But quite seriously, the leadership that you provided when working with the officers under incredibly difficult timelines and tight timelines. But I also want to acknowledge beyond that the community. And in two ways, we went out and a lot of work from the officers, including also our community engagement manager, Kylie, who supported the process. We went out and I attended all the sessions. I thank the ward councillors for chairing those. Now, they weren't brilliantly attended because it's sometimes hard to get people to come to budget briefings, but I'm incredibly proud that we ran those sessions because they were, for those that attended, incredibly informative of explaining the real situation that we face and help understanding to be able to answer their questions, to take their issues on board. I think that was incredibly worthwhile. It was a lot of work. And I thank everyone involved for that. And thank the community members who attended those very much for coming along and participating. I also want to thank the three submitters who put in proposals to the draft budget. In each case, those submissions have been based around real community issues and community priorities as they see them. And there's a lot of thought that went into those submissions and a lot of concern about the initiatives that they respectively championing, whether it's about the airport, whether it's about the Maryborough Castlemaine proposed rail trail, whether it's about the environment. Each of those was thoughtful and equally to assure those people, as they've been responded to directly, the council has very seriously thought about those issues, addressed how they might be accommodated within our work and financing more broadly. So those efforts have not been wasted by any means. They have been taken on board because this council, as it's required to do, is serious about community consultation, is serious about engagement. And I think this process has reflected it. So I just wanted to really reiterate the comments of both the mover and the seconder, Councillor Murphy and Councillor Lavella. This, I think, has been a brilliant exercise with incredibly difficult, tight timelines constraints. And as the councillors talked about, we'll work with the officers and look and refine the process further as we go forward. But congratulations to all. I think this is a great budget. Developed under difficult circumstances, and I'm very proud of the outcome and proud of the team contribution from the council, through council officers, the CEO, and the community as a whole. With that, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.7, recruitment of the Audit and Risk Committee member. Is there a motion, councillors? Thank you, Councillor Lovett.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to move that council appoint the person recommended in the report of the selection panel dated 15 June 2021 as the new independent member of the Audit and Risk Committee for a period of 4 years.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. Is there a second for that motion? Councillor Murphy, thank you. Councillor Lovett, that's all to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In talking to the motion, this is a very important position. The Audit and Risk Committee is comprised of 2 councillor members, the CEO, but more importantly, 3 truly independent members. One of those members has come to the end of her tenure, so she resigned, which created a vacancy and the position was widely advertised. We received 5 applicants for the position. Representing council on the interview panel, I've got to say, reading all the applicants' resumes, I was absolutely blown away by the quality of each of the applicants. Their experience, their qualifications and their ability to do the job was absolutely beyond reproach. The interview panel shortlisted 3 for interview. At the interview, each one of these 3 applicants brought to the table extensive backgrounds with private companies, government boards, experience in local government. Their experience was absolutely incredible. I have to say that to me, possibly the most pleasing aspect of all the people we interviewed was each spoke very highly of Central Goldfields Shire. They had done their research on the Shire. They understood what the Shire was, where we were coming from and where we are today. And each of them said they believed that the Shire's heading in the right direction and they would like to be part of the progress of Central Goldfields Shire. The interview panel had a very hard decision to make. Any one of the 3 applicants we interviewed would have been perfect for the job, but the decision we made was unanimous by the panel. I believe what tipped the scales in favour of the lady we chose was that she brings to the table a very strong focus on risk management. That is her expertise, and also cyber crime issues. So we felt that this person will bring a lot of expertise to the Audit and Risk Committee, and as I said, it was a unanimous decision by all members of the committee, and we as a council will definitely benefit from her experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lovett. Councillor Murphy? Any other councillors? Councillor Lovett, I wonder if you'd be good enough to take to the next meeting the welcome and congratulations to the new member, and the appreciation of this council for the work that member will be doing, and how good it is to have that member join already a very high-powered team, and wish that member well for the future. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. That completes the officers' reports. Councillors, we have no motions to use the common seal, no notices of motion. Urgent business, councillors? Any other business? If not, we have no confidential business. Therefore, accordingly, at 6:33, I declare the meeting closed, and thank you for all attending. Thank you.
That's a record in my lifetime.